What is the competitive intelligence process? Hi, I'm Sarah Miranda, and I'm the Business Development Manager here at Hinz Consulting. I have a background in federal government capture management and competitive intelligence, and I'm going to give you the 5 steps of the competitive intelligence process so that you and your team can set yourself up for success. So what is competitive intelligence? I have one definition of it right here on the screen, and it says it's collecting and analyzing actionable information about competitors and the marketplace to form a business strategy. So let's break that down a second. It's collecting or gathering from primary or secondary resources, and then analyzing or studying what you find from those resources for interpretation, actionable or truly useful and up-to-date information about both your competitors and the marketplace. So think external factors, trends, etc. that's going on in the marketplace. All of that comes together to form a business strategy, or in this case, for what we're talking about today, a bid strategy. In the simplest terms that I can put it for you guys, it's just gathering relevant information to make the best bid strategy to put you in a position of your highest probability of winning, or as we like to say in this industry, P-win, for a specific opportunity. This industry or this role usually falls within the capture and business development manager's role, but it can also be outsourced. There's a lot that goes to it, but now that we know what it is, let's break down what the process is. So like I said, now that we know what it is, let's walk through the process. In the competitive intelligence world, the overarching process is these 5 steps right here: plan, gather, digest, analyze, and disseminate for decision-making within your company. So starting with 1, plan. This is where you're going to develop a collection plan of all the information that you need by asking yourself 2 questions. 1, what do you know? And what's easily accessible information about the opportunity, about typical competitors that you come up against? You know them from all the things that you have been bidding on. And then about the marketplace. So again, as I said before, internal factors that happen within the agency that you're bidding on, and then external forces that are coming down on the agency or the customer, depending on if that's protests or there's an election year, something of that nature. Your second question you're going to ask is, what do you not know? Which seems counterintuitive, but I promise it'll come up once you talk about what you do know. So what do you not know that you need to know in order to pursue this opportunity that you guys are talking about? Now, planning is arguably the most crucial part of competitive intelligence, maybe second to analyzing. But basically, it's so important because you have to get clear on what you're looking for. And that way, you'll be able to collect actionable, useful information. And that'll make the rest of the steps the most efficient and effective use of your time. Now, I'm going to make another video soon breaking down best practices for planning, the what, who, when, where, how of planning. But until then, let's move on to your next step, and that's gathering. So once you have your plan settled, we can move on to gathering the information. And gathering is just the execution of the plan that you created before. Now, once you've gathered that information, it's time to digest and ensure everything that you've collected is actionable and up to date. If it's not, you pull it out, move along. Step 4, the other really crucial point of this process is analyzing. So analyzing your information, again, is just as critical as gathering the information. And during this step, you'll start to understand the competitive field and how you stack up against that competitive field, right? So you'll identify bidders who are capable of bidding and who are capable of pursuing the opportunity just by the capabilities that they have. And then identify those bidders' overall solution, if you will. And then if you're lucky, you'll have either a draft RFP or the RFP from the previous bid cycle, and you can weigh how those competitors are going to do up against the evaluation criteria that you have at your hands at that moment. Now, one best practice is to create a SWOT for each of your top 3 competitors or the teams that you've identified that are competing for this opportunity, and have that in your back pocket for this next step. Now, you've identified and you've looked and analyzed all the information for your competitors, but now let's move on to your customer intel. Now, that's the information that you've gathered about your customers' pain points and their hot buttons. What do they really care about that they couldn't put in as a evaluation criteria? And then you're going to ask yourself, who's on the source selection board? Who's influencing the source selection board? And what are those people's individual hot buttons? What do they care about, and what are they going to be reading for in your bid that you've submitted, or in your competitors' bids that they've submitted? So finally, once you've taken those 2 pieces of analyzation, you'll put it together, and it's time to finally disseminate this information for decisions. You can begin comparing your own company's solution to the evaluation standards that you've already done with your competitors. And then you can measure your strategy up to your top 3 competitors' strategies, and then make adjustments where necessary to really highlight what makes you different within the context of what the customer actually cares about. So that's where that customer intel really comes in. Now, once you're clear on all of that, you completed the competitive intelligence process. Yay! Celebrate for yourself. That's big. Now, you can use this information for many purposes, but your top 2 uses would probably be in your bid, no bid decisions. And then if your bid ends up being a go instead of a no-go, pass that information on to your proposal team. And I promise you from experience, I've been on the proposal side too, and they are going to love you for having such a clear, organized, concise, put together way of your win strategy. Okay, so that's all from me for today, but check back on our YouTube channel for more best practices on bids, proposals, navigating tech implementations, and so much more. See you next time.